All right, we got Fred Muth coming up here in just a minute, folks. Tampa Screens and Aluminum, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show, coming up here on the show. Before we do a couple of hot listings, we always like to feature our real estate properties live on air. The strategy is maximum exposure equals maximum profit for our real estate clients, our sellers. We love to list our properties and get them on air and maximize that exposure for you. We got a property here at 2907 North Florida Avenue in Tampa, Florida. This one is a large commercial building, 12,000 square feet, 7,200 plus heated square footage. You have 3/4 of an acre on a corner lot close to downtown Tampa. This is a beautiful property at 2907 North Florida Avenue. Great investment opportunity. You have 2 buildings on site, so the separate buildings rented out currently, bringing in around $7,000 a month. Great opportunity for a commercial property, large building, so it has new electrical, plumbing, stucco, etc. Great opportunity to own real estate, invest in your business instead of renting. If you are currently renting out there, you might want to take a look at this. Perfect for a contractor business of all types. Another listing here, waterfront residential listing at 5930 River Road, Newport Richey. This is on the Cody River. We have 80 feet of frontage, 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bath, and you have a half acre of land, half-acre lot on the Cody River. Beautiful property here. This is a gorgeous home. Owner's motivated. We did a significant price improvement as well. You have a Florida room there. You have metal roof, stone construction, cypress wood shingles, extensive support system in the crawl space. Beautiful property here, almost 2,000 square feet, half-acre lot on the Cody River, waterfront. Bring your boat, bring your jet skis and all the toys. 5930 River Road, Newport Richey, Florida. And you can see all of our listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com. Make sure you check out PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
Try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road.
All right, let's go to the phone lines here. We got Fred Muth, a.k.a. the Tin Man, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Welcome back, sir.
Hello, Brandon. I'm on the fly. Had to jump in the car. I got a project I've got to rush out to. So I got about 15 minutes, but that's fine. So listening to Jay Smith, Snoop Dogg, we go back, I think, 8 or 9 years, him and I, on the radio show. And it's been very beneficial to our business, and I'm sure it's been beneficial to Jay as well. I can attest for Jay's services. I referred him to several clients as well as friends, and nothing but good things to say about the job that he did and how respectable he is in his business. So there you go, Jay. If you'd like to write me a check, you know the address. Just kidding you.
That's right, yeah.
So,
and you two, I believe, are right there with Captain Will Smith. You guys are the longest-running expert contributors on the Consumer Quarterback Show for sure.
Yeah, and it's been good. I enjoy doing the show. I do regret the fact that I never make it into the studio. Ever since the Chinese virus hit, I've stayed out. But as it's been going on now, I've got time typically to come in, and then a day or two before I get a business commitment, so that does not allow me to come back into the studio. Coming into the studio is the best. Working out in the studio, you get this nervous energy before you go in the air, and I feed on that. I really enjoy it, and I like talking to the other guests that are going to come on. I like talking to them in the break room prior to. It's just great. But anyway, back to business. I'm snooping around from job to job, just like Snoop Dogg. We're taking a lot of calls. We're still getting a lot of business. It's coming back a little bit. Florida can be expensive. People complain about insurance rates, and they complain about a couple things down here. Interest rates. Obviously, that's nationwide, but they're still flocking down. You and I were talking earlier about that. I see more people moving into Florida from the north. Of course, they're going to come from the north, and they're so glad to get away from the high taxes and the cold weather. I can tell you about the taxes. I'm from the Northeast as well. As a matter of fact, I still have a house in New Jersey. It's a rental, and what I pay for taxes up there versus what I pay down here is just amazing, the difference. And people like to get away from that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've seen that trend. Florida #1 in net in-migration last year as well. So we see that. Now, when they're coming down, they're looking to get these beautiful in-between spaces, the patio, the screen room, the lanai, you got the pool cages. Tell us a little bit about the product that you offer out there.
Well, the generic term is lanai. They would come down, they want a lanai. A lanai can range anywhere from a patio room to a screen enclosure with or without a pool cage. Can even go, as far as just a small job screening in the existing covered lanai. So they covered patio. So, they use that term loosely in some cases, lanai. And when I meet with them, they're not exactly sure what they want. Most of my clients are not, and we talk them through the options and what's available. And generally, after a nice presentation and a couple of photos that we send them of jobs that we've done, the idea is in their head, and they know exactly which direction they're going to go. Then it's just a question of budget, versus size, and this and that and the other. I always try to get one of them numbers going into the project, either a budget number or an approximate size, and I can work the equation based on that. Most people appreciate that. That way we're not dancing around, spinning their wheels, and they know exactly, where the numbers are going to lie and the size is going to lie when we come up with that information.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you just joined us, we're talking with Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. You talk about adding on value to the home, usability, just the affordability is there, the affordable factor, and just the enjoyment factor when you add on these screen rooms, these screened-in lanais as well, and keeping the bugs out. The summer's coming. That's when the bugs seem to pick up and get a little bit worse. Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Fred, what else are you seeing in the industry? Have you noticed any inventory challenges or any kind of supply chain issues?
I don't want to jinx myself and say no, but I'm going to say no at this point. Even the labor has come back a little bit, and it's always a question of what the pricing is on materials and labor. Right now, that's been fairly stable, which makes me happy because the bids that I put out 3-4 months ago, typically I can honor them bids. There's nothing more disappointing than when a customer calls you three to 4 months later and you have to bump the price because there was a labor or a material increase. But we haven't seen that, and I hope not to see that for quite some time. I like this product to still be affordable. It's expensive now compared to what it was, say, a year ago, 2 years ago. Every year it goes up, but it's got to be affordable based on the value of the home. If the home's $500,000. It's nice to put $50,000 into your lanai if you can afford that. If you're down to $300,000-$400,000 home, people typically are willing to go anywhere from about $15,000 to $25,000 on a screen room, cage, or whatever. It depends on their options. The concrete typically is less money than the pavers, and then of course in the paver industry you have a lot of different variables. You have travertine, which is probably about the most expensive product versus a standard paver, and almost just came up to a red light there. Sorry about that. With the concrete, you don't have a lot of options. Concrete is concrete. Sometimes the backyard of the house, the property drops off, and of course they have to elevate the slab, and that's when it becomes pricey. So there's all these variables, and it's a challenge that we look forward to. I do enjoy it. When I go out to every project, typically I have a photo of the job site. Either I can pull that up online or sometimes the homeowner sends it to me. Then I get to the site and we talk about the different options and the sizes and the pricing. And it's nice. I think I've been doing it many, many years. Oh, I think Snoop Dogg said 39. Well, I'm under him. I'm not quite 39. But,
I think it was close to that, 35 maybe. But yeah, that's, I mean, anything over 10, 20 years in an industry, you are deemed an expert in that at that point at some point, right?
Yeah, either that or you don't know how to do anything else. I'm not sure which it is.
Yeah, there you go.
I've been doing this 32 years, and I have a theory: if you don't like what you do, don't do it and find something else. So obviously, I still enjoy it, and I'm going to a job site right now that I've already bid, and they want to make changes, and I'm there willing to give them all the options and help them out to make their decision.
Yeah, and that brings up another point when you have change orders, right? I mean, if the original plan is one thing and then you have a change order, does that necessarily turn into delays? Sometimes you got to go back into permitting, Fred?
Depends on where it's at in the permit process. In most cases, if the size is reduced, and it's in permitting, you don't have to re-permit that. In some cases, you just may have to amend the original drawing. If you're going to go larger, if it's into permitting and you're going to go larger, then typically that puts the brakes on the project, and you have to stop everything. In some cases, you have to redraw it, have it re-engineered and resubmitted, which is basically starting from stage one with the permit process. Permit process is not fun, and it doesn't have to be complicated, but our municipalities have a tendency of really finding a way to complicate things. And, I tell people we're building screen rooms. We're not building bridges. It shouldn't take this amount of time. It shouldn't take this amount of plans examiners. It shouldn't take the natural resource people. When I say in the city of Tampa, sometimes they dispute what the plans examiners say, and then the inspectors have something different to say. You get all these different opinions, which delays the project. I just had one where they sent us back on the job 3 times for 3 smaller issues that they should have caught that all at one point. And in our opinion, we weren't wrong, but we're not going to argue with the inspector. He said it had to be changed. So we're still not done with the job. It's been two and a half weeks now. We get, all the revisions done that the inspector wants us to do. We call in for the final, then he comes back with something else. I mean, that's beyond ridiculous, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, and I've seen that, and I've had those different stories that I've talked to with either developers or even construction guys just remodeling a property, and I think it's and just from a zoning standpoint, when it comes to even raw land, sometimes when you call the county or whatever municipality it is, you talk to one person, you'll hear one line of thinking or reasoning and advice, and then you go to the next person the next week or whatever it might be, and you'll have another story. So it's a frustration. I can definitely sympathize and empathize with that.
It is, and I'll give you another example. One particular county, which I don't want to mention on the air, their ruling is up to 500 square feet. You do not have to have a permit to pour a patio slab. However, if you're going to put a screen room on it, you've got to have a permit, a footer, a termite treatment, and an inspection. Well, when the homeowner calls this county, they don't give the rest of the story. Next thing you know, the patio's there. It's 490 square feet, and we go to put a screen on it. There's no footer. There's no termite treatment. Never was a permit. Let the fun begin. And the fun begins. We resolve the issue eventually, but it's time-consuming, and it costs the customer a little more money. So they're getting bad information up front from the county.
Yeah,
and that's wrong. I mean, the people in the county, they should be more educated and give out the correct information so that homeowners are not deceived and not seeing this thing in the wrong light.
Right.
But that's going to happen no matter what. I say the 30 some odd years I've been doing this, I've seen it over and over. And anytime you're dealing with a municipality, you have these governmental thinking. And like I say, I don't want to pick on them too much. Most of them are pretty good. But when you do have these issues that delay the process, and
right.
It should not delay the process. When I started in this business in 1992, we had the job permitted, concrete poured in 2 weeks. It's impossible to get that done in today's world.
Yeah, I can understand. I hear the same stories. Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Fred, how do people connect with you?
It's always best to call in 813-960-7064. You can go to our website, tampascreensandaluminum.com. We love to hear from anybody. We love the quotes. We love the leads. We love doing the jobs. And the majority of the business that I'm writing and the majority of the leads that I'm receiving are referral or repeat. Now, that says a lot for the company. That says a whole lot for Richard and the family. That's a family-owned company, and they care about what they do. And what I do like about them, when the problem comes across the plate, it gets resolved.
Yeah. I love that. That speaks volumes. Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Check them out online. Also, all of the info is at consumerqb.com. Fred, thank you so much. Appreciate the input today.
My pleasure. Talk to you soon, Brandon.
All right, my friend. Take care. All right, taking a quick break. Coming back, we got Ryan Steffel in studio. Hudson's Furniture and Mattress coming up here, as well as our feel-good story of the day. We got a random act of kindness. Stranger on airplane quickly crochets beanie for baby, mesmerized by the yarn. We'll be right back. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.